Okay, everybody, welcome all of you. It is a beautiful day. Today, I don't know where you are, but here the weather has been incredible. And I walked and I walked and I walked. And I want to talk a little bit about last week. Something very big happened to me. Somehow, I checked with Kenny if I could speak today about something that really affected me. And he said yes. So let me begin. I felt so down last week. I felt so sad. Somehow or other, there'd been so many days when I couldn't walk outside. It was drizzling, it was windy, and the world was grey. And it reminded me of a poem I had read a long time ago in a book where children from school entered a contest. And all the poems in it were so sad. They dealt with rejection, with shattered thoughts, with winter. And I felt at home with them. I'd like to read this poem for you. Cries Across a Lifetime. I have lost something. A fire has gone from my eyes, and the color of the world has lost its shine. My childhood died between heartbeats and left me with a cracking voice and cries that can't be comforted. And yet, I identified. And I started to look at other poems that were accepted for this contest. And all of them were sad. Winter, silent, crunches like ice, tingles under your breath, bears the trees of their summer clothes. Winter. The death of a snowflake. Down, down from a lovely white sky, floated a snowflake, which I caught, with a shape so very wondrous that I wanted it to last forever. But it's wilting almost away, now shapeless, now gone, just the puddle in my hand, and my snowflake is no more. And I thought, I understand. I have the same feeling. And I called a very close friend of mine. And I read these poems to her. And she felt the same way. And I thought to myself, I am addicted to feeling happy. When something goes wrong, I quickly go to something which would make me happy. Why am I afraid of the opposite side of life? It exists. And what happens to these children when they grow older? Do they have joy? And I know they do. And I called my friend with whom I share so many thoughts. And she agreed she felt the same way. And we blamed it on winter. Today the sun was shining. I was so happy. I walked and I walked and I walked. And think about it. Does the weather have that much control over us? I know so many friends of mine have gone to Puerto Rico, to Florida, where there is sun. Anyway, think about it, because when I paint, I feel joy. If a color is dark, I add a spot of yellow, only a specific yellow. It's got to be glowing. To make it glow, I have to put darkness around it. Maybe these must go together. I wanted to speak about that. Now today I'm going to be painting and teaching you at the same time. I realized I need to talk about what I feel. And I have Facebook. And I have all of you, as I mentioned, you're my sidewalk audience. Okay? So Kenny's going to fix the lights now. And I am going to start painting. Perfect. Kenny, should I move the painting, tip it a little bit?
Let's see how this is when I
Yeah, let me try.
Good. I think good.
And while you're doing this, I'm going to open my paints.
And while you do, I'll read comments.
I'd love that.
Fran Rosenberg is watching. Tracy Hepner is watching. I had mentioned a few names before. Marcia says, "You are looking swell, my sweet Hetty." And Paula Lakshan is watching. Carol Hodkin. And Paula says, "Love you all from Puerto Rico." We love you, Paula. And Janine is watching and says, "Hello, Hetty." And Tammy says, "What a great addiction. Too many people are afraid of the happy side of life." And Eileen said, "You know how to bring joy out of the darkest moments. We are grateful for this. We know it's not easy, but you are a master at this." And John Terracusa says, "Hi, Hetty. Hi, Ken. Hugs from California."
Okay. Now, let me do this. First of all, I have Paula over here and Eileen, and they are at an angle where I can paint. Let me put my glasses on. And let me do this. Let's do it together. Let me tell you what I did. And I'll also speak of other things. But I watched the photographs I have of Eileen right here. And the way she has her hand, it's a powerful way. It's like this.
Wait 1 second.
Should I stand up?
No, that's okay. Just show it again.
Yep. Paula doesn't put a wishy-washy hand there. She stands as a photographer. And I worked on that. And I'm going to work on that right now. Okay?
Just give me a second because I'm going to rearrange the light a little
Definitely.
bit better. Sorry, folks.
And while you're doing that, I can take my things and put them out. I covered my lap, but I didn't put my other thing on. Everything has wheels, thank God. There are so many things to fix. I didn't have to do those things when I was very healthy and young, because I stood and everything worked. But now I have to move everything for my 93-year-old body to be happy with. Okay, Paula, here we go. No, not Paula. It's Eileen first, because I need that arm for her.
Are you okay? Can I help you?
No, if you help me, then they would think that they can't do it. But they can. They just have to suffer. Okay. This brush is wonderful. I treat my brushes with such love because they cost so much. Okay? Never buy a cheap brush because they leave their hair all over. Okay. Eileen, you're dry enough for me to have a wonderful time. I have to wait with the fingers because they have to dry so that I can separate them. But you know she's a professional because the way she holds her hands. You know, there is such joy when you reach this point and you already know that you waited until it was dry enough for you to do it. Now, what I have to do is to do shading. First of all, I need to do a background. And I'm putting a wonderful dark brown for the moment. Eventually, I will do something else. The something else will depend upon the soil in back. I don't know yet whether it'll be sand or shrubbery, but at the moment I need to know the outlines, and so I create a darkness around them, and immediately I already have an answer, and the answer is I have to be lighter because I know I have to be lighter. Watch this. And I would like very much for all of you to make comments about the freedom that we have in my doing this, because I can do anything that you decide. I could either speak or explain or do what I'm doing right now.
So if anybody has any comments about what you're doing as you paint, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But also, I have the most wonderful freedom in the world. I'm not being paid to do this. I'm allowed to speak to the world and teach. I miss teaching. before the pandemic, I did counseling. I did counseling in the prison system. And I was so happy. I did counseling when I taught. I used to teach in my basement. And I miss it. And I don't miss it anymore because of you, my Facebook audience. You see what I'm doing? She has a gorgeous figure. And so I have to show the figure. And above all, I have to have patience because right now it's working. The colors that I want to show are happening, but only for the moment. When they dry, they'll be different. Okay? Watch. But this way, Eileen needs to become this professional that she is. She has to stand there owning the camera and owning the spot in which she's standing. See how very tenderly I'm adding light. Not much. Because oil's beauty.
Carol Hodkin just says Hetty, and then she says, "It is great seeing you tonight," with a heart. And Paula Lakshan says, "This is a great lesson from a brilliant teacher." And Eileen says, "It's just remarkable how you manage to capture the essence of your subjects. What a gift watching you paint me."
But you know, it happens because I want, I have an ulterior motive. I want the world to respect who we humans are. And from what the newspapers say about us, it's not true. I have watched Eileen with people, and there's a tenderness in the way she sees them. You see, as I add the light tones, they are not the ending of it. They'll dry differently. And then I'll know what to do next. Another thing I will have to do, I will have to change all the faces a little bit, because when I painted the faces, they didn't belong anywhere yet. I didn't have a background. And now, as I have a background, each person in back has to be smaller than the ones in front. And I don't do that at the beginning. But you see, that's all part of why a painting takes so long. Now, Eileen and Paula both have beautiful figures, and there's no way that they would forgive me if I didn't show that. So, Let's give her her beautiful figure. Remember, this is not the final thing. It'll be layer after layer. But a body creates shapes in the material of the clothing. I'm having a wonderful time.
Penny Pinsky Ellis says magnificent, and she sends you a heart and a rainbow. Marsha Bard Isman says it is so fun to watch you work.
Then I'll do if
you
you feel this, then I would love to do that kind of thing more, because I'm aching to start building this up, and I can't yet. Let me tell you something wonderful. A friend, Karen Amato, who works for the Historical Society, brought me a load of photographs of the boardwalk. Not just the boardwalk, but the boardwalk with place. You see what's happening to her figure now? Because the blue was ready for me to put lights into it. I have a lot to tell you about other things. One of them is right over here. His name is Bruce, and that's his granddaughter. And if the light is good next week, I'll be able to work on them, because I think you all who know me well know that I had serious surgery done on my legs when I fell, and about 5 years ago, and broke my right hip and my right shoulder. And my daughter told, you see this spot right here? That's dry paint, and it has to go. I waited for today because I didn't know if I could get rid of it. Good.
Marsha says, I've watched you paint so many times and it still amazes me how brilliant you are. And Tammy says, that's incredible how the shading adds form and clarity.
Would you do me a favor and keep that thought, because I need to hear it to make me feel good. But you see, I think it's that way in life. You have to understand the people you're dealing with. And that means the paint also. And there are limits to how much blue you can have in shading. So you add a little bit of brown here too. See what I mean? Now that doesn't mean it'll dry that way. Everything that works only works because it's willing. Now, what I will do when this is dry, I can put her fingers in. But I couldn't do that now. But there is a crease here that I can do. Next week, I'll be able to outline the fingers, especially of the hand that has the camera. Okay? Let me have some fun with Paula's hat. How is my timing?
3 minutes.
How many?
3.
Oh, only 3 minutes?
Yes.
Oh.
But have some fun with the hat.
Okay. Well, I can't do this, her hat, because my thumb, my finger would touch Paula's blue, and I can't afford that because then I'll move it to something else. Let me tell you, since I have so few minutes, let me tell you a little bit. What do you do when a figure looks like this? This is my friend Blythe. Now, the only people in this painting are people who I know to be incredibly kind. Eric asked me to do a painting in this one, which proves to the world that we are not what the newspapers say we are. And these are all people I know personally who do kindness in their everyday movements. I want to tell you, because my time is just about up, I want to tell you about something that will make you as happy as it makes me. I told you about my walking, having such problems because one leg is shorter than the other. And there's a place in Rockville Center, and Bruce, I guess he's a foot doctor, because he made these wonderful shoes for me so that my left leg is the same height as my right leg. And before I sign off, I want to show you how I can walk now. That's going to grow up to be him and his grandchild, because I'm dying to get back to this as well. But things are wet. And tomorrow I'm going to wake up, come back here, and do this. But until then, I would like Kenny to photograph this brush so that you can see what I'll be using for eyes and noses. Can you see how delicate and tiny it is?
It's a little hard. I can't get that close to it.
Okay. And I think that's it for the night.
Penny Pinsky says, a painting of pure love and kindness, all inspired by you.
And Eric, because he's the one who said, let's do that with this painting. Let's give future generations the knowledge of who we are. I can take my glasses off.
Penny says, love you, Hetty.
And I think maybe this is the best way we continue doing these, that we paint at the same time. Okay.
Many, many, many hearts with that, like an explosion.
Wonderful.
Yes.
But I want to show you how I can walk with my shoes.
And Paula says, we love watching you create. You are pure magic. And you're now going to walk?
With my 2 feet being the same size.
Remember that we are attached.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I won't go
That's
far.
okay. That's okay.
As long as it doesn't go into my paints. Because that would be upsetting. Okay, you see, the feet are now the same size. They touch the ground the same way. I can walk. I'm attached in a string.
I'm following you. Lots of hearts. Tracy wants to know if you will be in the picture, Hetty.
Yes, I am, but not from the front.
Oh, okay. And Marcia says hooray.
Thank you. I love you all.